Congressman Scott Perry, the first ever guest on the Freedom Caucus Podcast. How is it?
It's pretty awesome. It's a big deal.
Good.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. I want to take you back to a little bit unpleasant time. August 9th, 2022. The FBI is surveilling you in your house and maybe 50 other members of Congress. And I want to take that, talk about it for a second, but I want to take that to your fight on the Fourth Amendment warrantless wiretapping that we're seeing in Congress today.
So the FBI targeted me because of my political viewpoints and political affiliations, which we're not supposed to be doing in the United States of America. We can disagree, but long story short, they followed us to our we rent a house at the shore once a year with my in-laws to be a family and try and, just be together. And so they came there, knocked on the door early in the morning. It's a little shore town, FBI guys in big trucks, pulling up. They want to seize my phone. It's a violation when you haven't done anything wrong. You're not supposed to be targeted in America, right? And it's not just about me. There's a bunch of other members of Congress, the House and Senate that they did this to, and citizens, right? For your political beliefs, it is a violation of our rights to privacy and our rights against unlawful search and seizure, right? We had a fight with the King of England, the most powerful country on the planet, because we said, you're going to have probable cause. You're not just going to arrest people because you're the king and you don't like what they say or think. But yet that's happening in America, and it happened to me, and I am passionate about it. For all Americans, it doesn't matter if you're in the left or the right or the center. We all raise our right hand and swear that we're going to uphold and defend the Constitution, our rights given to us by God, enshrined on this piece of paper, right? But the piece of paper can't defend itself. That's why you need people to do it. And so it's just one example, Patrick. I mean, it keeps coming, right? And we're going to talk about that. I think there's all kinds of different parts of this now. As technology increases, the surveillance state is all around us now. And what is government's role in that? And what shouldn't it be?
So we have the Fourth Amendment, okay? Right. Unreasonable search and seizure in a nutshell. In Congress, this is an issue you've been passionate about the entire time you've been in Congress, everything that I've ever seen. Warrantless wiretapping, Fourth Amendment, government abuse. Like you said, this is like Americans of all stripes, Republicans and Democrats. Your House Freedom Caucus colleagues are generally your allies, more than generally your allies on this issue. Like, what is the fight right now? Is it Section 702? Is it Fourth Amendment? Like in a nutshell,
well,
what are you fighting?
It's all of it, right? But let's have the context here. We know this is a dangerous world, right? We have foreign adversaries. They want to do bad things to America and to Americans. We have domestic adversaries, and we want our police to have every tool necessary to fight the bad guys. So we want those things. At the same time, think about technology and facial recognition software. You connect that with gait analysis and artificial intelligence, and now the mandatory kill switch in your car. The car determines whether you should drive or not. And just imagine all the things that could go wrong with that. And then if you hook up, because this is part of the fight too, central bank digital currency, where the federal government determines if you can spend your money, how you can spend your money, when you can spend your money. People say, well, that would never happen. Yet it is happening in other countries, and it happens slowly. People say, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, so why should I care, right? But that's not how this is supposed to work. We want the people that are in law enforcement, whether they're dealing with foreign adversaries or certainly with people domestically, we want them to get the bad guys, right? But we also want them to follow the rules, which says if there's not probable cause, you don't search people, right? We don't want to live in a surveillance state.
Yeah, exactly. And that brings us to our next topic. I mean, it's a perfect segue. Everybody's talking about it online, at least, and I really think this is getting around the country. Yeah. There's these cameras called flock cameras, right. and you mentioned law enforcement needs tools to catch bad guys. I don't think anybody's got a problem with that. I think, and I want to show this video real quick, and we're going to look at it. Yesterday, I saw this, went viral all over the internet. The United States Forest Service shooting range in Ocala, Florida. And you'll see it in this video, there's 3 flock cameras. And as a gun guy, big gun guy, it's what I've done my entire career, coming in and out of this gun range, every single person, I guess, presumed somebody's getting records that these are gun people. They have firearms. that is what we're talking about, privacy.
Right, right.
Our people need privacy. So let's take a look at the video real
Okay.
quick and go ahead and play that.
And this is the Ocala public shooting range. You can see that beautiful sign right there. But what actually lurks behind it is a little bit scary. You have these right here. These are tag readers. These are tag readers coming in. And then if we come over here, as this car leaves, they're leaving, and you can see that that tag is now captured by the Flock tag reader. And you got that tag, both of those.
So there you see it. I mean,
Right.
It's flock cameras. Story this morning, 117,000 of these across the country. I live in Georgia. It's the headquarters of Flock. You know, you've been passionate about this issue on protecting the privacy of Americans, Republicans, Democrats, whoever. Tell us about your fight on this.
So think about this. In that particular instance of the video we just saw, the government by law cannot keep a registry of gun owners. The government by law cannot keep a registry. But the Flock camera company can make the videos, the images, and either sell those images or collect them themselves, and they can have a list. And then the government can purchase that list. Right? So it's not keeping with the spirit of the law. So in my case, we were doing a transportation bill, and I said that Flock cameras should be used to do tolling, right? Because we use them, they have automatic, many of them, almost all of them, have automatic license plate readers on them. Well, that's how they tell whether you're paying the toll. Okay, fine, right? Your license plate is public information. It's on the front and back of your car. That's fine. But should we be tracking, and should private businesses be tracking every single movement you make, what time you make it, where you go, who you're with, what you're carrying, what you're doing? That's happening, and even though the government doesn't have a warrant, now they just purchase the information. Doesn't that seem to you that's we're just throwing out the requirement of having due process, of having a warrant? We're just throwing it out because we don't have a warrant. We don't need a warrant. We're just buying it. We're not collecting it. They're doing the collecting. We're just buying it. Well, we're not for that in America. I don't want you to be watching everything I do when I go to the gun range or when I don't, or when I go to Walmart or what have you. And look, people can give away their rights. They can sign them away if they want to. You can say, look, I don't care. You can go ahead and surveil me. You can monitor this. When you sign certain things on the internet, you sign some of that, but that's your choice. The difference is that the Flock camera company or some other business doesn't have the power to arrest you and throw you in jail, but the federal government and the state government does.
Right. So in a sense, it's just an end around the Constitution.
Right.
And if there are not protections on the back end from government buying this data or abusing this data or whatever, then it's just, it's ultimately, I can't help but think this is building a massive database. And people will say, well, you have it on your phone and this, but obviously this is different. Obviously this is different. It's everywhere you go. And I can't help but think, and first of all, I'm a University of Georgia guy, and this CEO of Flock went to Georgia Tech. So this is like a really bad thing for us in and of itself on the surface.
Well,
and then I watched the guy, and last week, his name is Garrett Langley. He's the CEO. He called anyone with any opposition to Flock cameras, he said they're terrorists. That's what he said. And he came out and then he apologized for that. But he's also said he wants one on every single corner in the United States. Look, that's communist China. That is North Korea. And I can't help but think, looking at what's happened here and what is happening here, that they're trying to build a social credit score, a complete and total, monitored police state all across the country. And what I want to show is a video real quick to anybody out there who's watching, and I want us to watch it too. In communist China, at their traffic lights, sometimes they don't have actual police officers. They have drones who will then badger people and collect that information and score you plus or minus based on your behavior. So let's watch that video real quick.
Okay.
深圳回中交界巡逻提醒点，深南中路公交车分为12小时专用车道，社会车辆禁止占用。请戴好头盔，不闯红灯，不走，请尽快驶离。违法停车将予以抓拍。
So you saw it,
Right.
your reaction.
Well, look, we understand that technology is a force multiplier, but you also have the due process. To me, if the police are going to give me a ticket for something, I want to face my accuser, right? I want to see them. I don't want some machine on every single corner. I mean, maybe they say every single corner, but then is it at every room in your house? Like, where does it begin and where does it end? And this stuff, it happens very quickly. Technology's advancing very quickly. Of course, this technology is the same thing. And we're not saying it doesn't have its uses and its purpose, but there's got to be a balance, because we live in a society where you're not allowed to have your rights violated just because somebody else can do it. Right? That's the point. Just because they can doesn't mean it's okay. And if I didn't consent, maybe you did, but I didn't. And then there's the whole probable cause thing. Is the tool great for finding maybe somebody that robbed your home or something like that because it read your license plate? That's awesome. But maybe, look, we've already seen this, and I've talked to police officers, some that have experienced this. It has been used incorrectly. It is used against them. Somebody wants to monitor their ex, right? Or something like that. And, that's the inappropriate use of that technology, but they can monitor what place the person's been in. And it's too late to unwind some of these things when they happen. So we're looking for a reasonable balance. That's why I'm in conversations with police officers where I live. But these technologies that just happen and then become really prolific really quickly, there are policy issues, kind of like lifestyle issues that we need to deal with, right?
So on the policy, and that's really, kind of wrapping up this whole conversation. If you had your way, and I really do believe, I'm a conservative guy, Republican guy, right-wing guy, but like this issue, I see people online, it's like Republicans and Democrats, it's young people. If you had your way and you had the votes, and your colleagues at the Freedom Caucus, who I know a lot of them are with you on this, and maybe even some Democrats. If you had your way, what would be the policy from the federal government that protects Americans of all stripes from government abuse, protects their privacies, protects their Fourth Amendment rights?
Well,
What would be the policy?
If you're going to use this to arrest people and to punish people, then there has to be probable cause and a warrant, right? That sounds pretty simple. We're used to that. That makes sense to me. And that seems pretty reasonable. You can't, and private businesses without permission can't be just using this for whatever they might want to use it for, right? Whether it's shunning people that they don't like. I will tell you this, like, it's one thing to have 3 flock cameras at the gun range. And of course, gun users don't like that, and understandably so. But what if you're having a protest, peaceful protest, about your government, that you don't like something that they're doing, and maybe it's something that you don't, maybe you're on the left side of the spectrum and they're doing something on the right, and you want to peacefully protest that. And there's cameras up cataloging you as an enemy of the state, so to speak. We don't like that either, right? None of that stuff is acceptable.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's disturbing. It seems like it's especially the flock stuff is reaching like peak levels right now. But I know it's a busy week. Great conversation. I want to continue the conversation another time. If you had one thing for people to say that they could do, I mean, is it call? Is it local government? Is it federal government? Like,
it's all levels of government, right? And it literally is from your local township or borough, municipality, right up to the federal government. It's the same for all of us, which is Patrick, it is to be heard. Yeah. If you've got an opinion, if you've got a thought about things, this is how things get solved, right? We don't want to fight over these things. We don't want to be angry with our neighbors, but let's have a conversation. You can't have a conversation if you're not heard, so be heard.
Yeah. No, that's great. I know it's a busy week. You guys got to vote and stop the tyrants in the swamp. But Congressman Perry, you now have the honor again of being the first guest on the episode. Hopefully it's been informative, and look forward to it in the future. So get out there and fight.
Thanks, Patrick. Be heard.
All right.